Hey guys, it's Kevin again, and happy Halloween to all of you. Hope you all are having a really great Halloween. And because it's Halloween, of course, that means 31 Days of Horror is coming to an end. Today is the last day of 31 Days of Horror, sadly. But I've really been enjoying doing these reviews for you guys. But I knew I wanted to end with a franchise. I wanted to end with a franchise. And what better way to end with, of course, Ash vs. Evil Dead premieres tonight. And in anticipation for that, I know it premiered last night at midnight, but I'm counting it as 9 o'clock, because that's when it was supposed to premiere. I don't know why they decided to change it to midnight, whatever. But in anticipation of that, I will be reviewing all the Evil Dead films, excluding the remake, because I've already reviewed the remake. If you guys want to check out my review, you can. It is probably pretty shitty, but you guys can check that out. Starting with the 1981 horror classic, The Evil Dead. Now, The Evil Dead is a movie I was definitely really looking forward to. I've heard really great things about it. I've heard most people say it's one of the greatest horror movies ever made. And of course, I really want to check out the Evil Dead films in general because I just heard they're really great movies, and especially The Evil Dead. I remember the first time I watched it, I didn't really like it because I had just seen the remake, and this movie is, very different from that, and definitely, I knew I'd like it more this time. I knew I'd like it a lot more when I checked it out this time, and I have to say that that was definitely the case because The Evil Dead really surprised me. The Evil Dead is by far one of the greatest horror movies I think ever made. It really set the tone for many horror movies today, and I absolutely loved it. Really, it is quite scary. It was a very terrifying experience, but definitely it's not for everyone, but if you can handle it, I definitely recommend checking it out. Now let's get to the plot of The Evil Dead, which is pretty simple overall. It's not that hard of a plot. Basically, there are these five friends that are going to this cabin in the woods. It's very shady, it's kind of run down, but they don't really think much of it. They just want to get there, for a little getaway. And basically, they start seeing this Book of the Dead, basically, and they don't really think anything of it. They think, oh, this is all a joke. There's really not much to it. But then when they start playing this recording, of this man, talking about this demonic presence again. They're just thinking this is all a hoax. They're thinking this is all really stupid. And it ends up summoning these flesh-possessing demons called deities that called deadites that start to take over them, and basically they have to start turning against each other to survive, and eventually the movie becomes every man for himself, and that basically is the plot of The Evil Dead. And I think it's a really great plot. It's very generic, but the thing you have to look at this movie is that this is at the point where there weren't many Cabin in the Woods films. This was like the very first one, most people say. And yeah, there was things like The Haunting, but in terms of like Cabin in the Woods, just the idea of it, Evil Dead is really what started all that, and I really give credit to this film. Yes, it's become a pretty shitty genre. I mean, really, it has. It's become really stupid, but it actually works really well in this movie. I think it works even better than it did in the remake. There are a lot of things to really love about this. The acting here is really good for the most part. I mean, especially Bruce Campbell as Ash. He is fantastic in this movie. The one thing, though, is that Ash doesn't really have too much of a character in this movie. He has a girlfriend, Linda, but the most he gets of his character is just that he is the sole survivor. Of course, you guys probably know that, of course, from Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness. Of course, that's not really a spoiler, because I'm pretty sure you guys know in Evil Dead 2 that it's Ash that is the only one that survives, but I thought he was obviously amazing in this movie. He did a really great job. He was really, you could definitely tell the fear that he had in him. He definitely did it all very, very well, and I definitely really loved his character. I thought he did a very good job. Everyone in them, for the most part, was really good. I can't really pick out anyone specifically, but I have to say, Betsy, all the possessed, like Betsy Baker, Linda, everyone that gets possessed is incredible. When they get possessed, it truly is something terrifying, and it truly is something you're not going to forget, and I think they did a very good job with all the possession stuff in this movie. That's definitely something that I really enjoyed. I thought all the acting, for the most part, was really great. Again, I can't really point out anyone specifically, but something I really do command from the actors is that there's only 5 actors in this entire movie. There's nobody else in this movie. It's just these 5 characters, and I think they did that very well because it made the movie really simple, and I definitely really love the way they did that. And I thought that was definitely very well done. I also like the way all the characters are related. Like Ash's girlfriend is Linda, his best friend is Scotty. He has his sister. He has a sister, Cheryl. I think Cheryl was his sister, and then Shelly is Scott's girlfriend. So I thought they really blended all the characters very well. I definitely really like that. So overall, I thought all the acting was pretty good. Not really too much to say about it. Because my only problem with this movie, and it is a small problem. It's not too much of a problem for me. I'll get into why. But my really only problem with this movie is that these characters don't have much to do. Like, they do have characters. They do get possessed, but they don't really have characters. They're more of just people who are getting affected by this, and it's not a problem for me because the movie really doesn't give them a second to breathe. But it would have been nice to have a bit more character development, but I didn't really feel like it was needed here, mainly because of how good Sam Raimi's direction is this movie. I mean, especially this movie, which, mind you, was very, very low budget. Like, when I say low budget, this was extremely low budget. By the way, guys, I am not showing you the cover to the DVD I have for my library because it is this is the cover. What the fuck is this? Like, what is this? I looked at this cover and I was like, what the hell is this? But I can hold this up, I guess. But the thing with the Evil Dead is that, like I said, it was made for very, very low budgets, and Sam Raimi only had, in fact, I think he just picked some people that he knew to be in this movie that really weren't that well known, and that's how the movie got thrown together, which I think that in itself is very impressive, and I think that definitely is something I really loved about Sam Raimi's direction. He really had a very well thought, executed tone. It's quite scary. It is definitely very terrifying and very genuinely scary. I thought he did definitely a very good job with the directing, I have to say. And some people have said that there is dark humor in this movie. I really didn't notice it. If there was, I wasn't really paying attention because of how scary the movie was. But I think definitely the directing was really great. I thought Sam Raimi did a very good job, and definitely one of the best parts of the movie by far was the directing. His directing was fantastic in this movie. The writing I also really loved, I have to say. Like I said, the characters don't really have character development. They do, but it's more of just them getting out of this situation. And I thought that was written perfectly. The idea of these Deadites are terrifying, and something I loved about this movie is that the characters aren't stupid. I mean, they simply are just in this cabin. They don't really think much of it, and they pretty much, curiosity just gets the best of them. And I think that's something that we as human beings can all relate to. I mean, when we see things that seem weird, we want to know more about it, and it could be really bad, like the characters in this movie. But they're not idiots, they just think, oh, this is just a joke. I mean, again, this was the first Cabin in the Woods movie, so it's not a trope because they started it, and I think it works very well here because the characters really aren't dumb. They just pretty much curiosity gets the best of them. They don't think much of this situation because they just think, just think of how you were. If you were to be in this situation, I probably would have done the same thing. I probably wouldn't think much of it. I wouldn't think, oh, there's something wrong here. I probably would have thought it's all a hoax, because think of how many legends and things like that you hear about. Like when you go to a haunted house and you hear, oh, that's haunted. You hear about that stuff all the time. You probably don't think much of it. I really don't either. I mean, especially around Halloween time, you don't think much of it, and I think they did that very well with this movie with the writing, and I definitely really love that. But the movie does get very crazy very fast, and I definitely really love the fast pacing of this movie was definitely something I was very impressed by. I mean, people are getting possessed one by one by one. It is insane the way they handled that, and I thought they did that very, very well, especially the ending of this movie. I mean, the climax especially. I'd say once the movie is 40 minutes in, that's when it really gets insane, and they did a very good job with that. And it's a really unpredictable movie. You don't really know what's going to happen in this movie, and I thought they did that very, very well, I have to say. Definitely really like that in terms of the writing. Definitely something I really loved. And I think what was also really realistic about the movie, is again, like I said, these five characters and just what ends up happening to all of them. It very much felt realistic, like if this were to actually happen, because, this could actually happen. I thought they did that very, very well, and I really like that. And especially cinematography. The cinematography, again, this movie was very low budget, and they decided to use practical effects because they didn't have the technology that they could work with, so they used very low budget practical effects, and it looks phenomenal, honestly. The effects, when they look like these terrifying Deadites, they look terrifying. They really do, and I thought they did that very, very well with the movie. I mean, they really look scary, and it was very well done, I have to say. And I think it really worked for this movie because, again, this is something that could happen, so I think it was probably the most realistic they could. I mean, this movie truly cared about being realistic, and I think they did that very, very well, and that's something I definitely really commend the movie on, is how realistic it was. Definitely something that worked very well was the realistic tone of this movie. And the movie is scary. The movie is definitely scary. There are a lot of times where it scared me. There are a lot of times where you're very scared by this movie. And there are jump scares, but they are all real. They're not false jump scares. There are a few times, there's one jump scare that's false, but it works because just again, the characters are in this situation and they don't really know what to do about it. So I thought it worked well for this movie. I didn't think it was stupid because I thought it worked pretty well. I didn't think the characters really were stupid in this movie, and I thought they handled it all very, very well. I definitely was very impressed by the cinematography in this movie. Another one of the best parts by far was the cinematography. The score is so creepy. The score is so creepy. They don't use it a lot, which I noticed. They don't really use the score a lot in this movie, which I think works very well. I definitely really did love the score, I have to say, and they did a very good job with that. And that's something else I really love. And the editing as well, like I said, the movie is not long at all. It's 85 minutes, and it goes by like that. I was into it the whole time. There wasn't one point where I wasn't into this movie, and I definitely really love that. However, the climax of this movie truly is something amazing. And if you guys haven't seen the climax, I do want to talk about it real quick because I think it's a real sad climax. It really is. Let's face it, the ending to this movie is really sad. I mean, Ash has to kill some people that he really cares about in order to survive. He has to kill his best friend, he has to kill his sister, he has to kill his brother's girlfriend. I mean, it's really sad stuff, but he realizes he has to do all of this to survive, and you know, I think it's really sad, especially when he has to put down Linda. It's a very sad scene. You don't want him to have to do it, but you know that there's no going back. There's no way she's going to go back from being possessed. She can't get away from it, and it's really sad. And I thought that was definitely something that was very sad. I definitely thought they handled that very well. And that scene where he has to bury her is just so sad. And then, of course, when he tries to leave, he's pulled into the house, which sets up the sequel perfectly, and I really love it. I thought they ended the movie perfectly, and that's something I definitely was very impressed by, was the ending to the movie. By far, one of the best parts of the movie. But overall, guys, The Evil Dead is a really great movie. I definitely really loved it. Also, the movie was very, very controversial for a time. It's very graphic. There's tons of violence. It's NC-17 for a reason. It's not rated R. It's NC-17, and it needs to be. It's quite scary for the time, and I'm surprised at what they got, you know, away with in this movie. They were able to get away with, because there's a lot of like chainsaws. There's tons of blood, and they did it all very, very well. I have to say that's definitely something that I really love in this movie, and I thought they handled very well. But overall, guys, I'm definitely giving The Evil Dead a 4.5 out of 5 or an A. It is a fantastic movie. There's not too much to say about it because it's pretty straightforward. I know you guys are going to be like, oh, there's probably more to say about, but it really isn't, because I feel like it's really straightforward. I feel like it's a movie that you just need to watch, and then you'll really love it. It's a really great movie overall. I definitely recommend you guys check it out because it truly is something amazing, and it definitely is a great way to start this franchise, and I think really revolutionized a lot of horror movies today. A lot of, you know, creature movies can't really do what this movie did, and I think that definitely is something that this movie did very well. A lot of movies should try to do what this movie did, because this movie did very well, and I wish that they did. But overall, guys, let me know what you guys thought of The Evil Dead. I would really love to hear your thoughts, and I'm sure you guys love this movie. But my next review will definitely be for Evil Dead 2, which you guys I know will definitely be looking forward to. I have a lot to say about that movie, a lot more to say than The Evil Dead. Not that I didn't love the movie, I really do love the movie, I just don't have too much to say about it because I feel like it's a pretty straightforward movie. But overall, guys, my review. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you guys in my next review, which will be for Evil Dead 2, and I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.